seems to be a lot of name calling going on, but I want to remind you what our good dad told me one time. Labels are for soup cans. The presidency is a serious job that requires sound judgment and good ideas. And there's no doubt in my mind that Jeb Bush has the experience and the character to be a great president.
For the first time since leaving office, George Bush is on the campaign trail for his brother. His successes and failures out there for all to see and hammer away at yet again. And brother Jeb believing that no matter the critics, his presidential brother can turn things around and give him the hammer he needs against Donald Trump and the rest. And it would seem having brother George on hand has allowed the presidential candidate to grow some stones in his bout with the billionaire. Let us unlock the cage doors and let the political animal run free, destined to put a figurative stick in the eye of those who dare not use their common sense. He is the former director of FEMA, now ruling the afternoon drive radio talk air at 630 KHOW in Denver, Colorado, every weekday, unafraid to use that stick against both parties when needed. Michael Brown, joined by the senior political editor at Forbes, who begins his new time slot tonight on Sirius XM POTUS 124 from 6 to 9 Eastern every weekday evening, Rick Ungar. Gentlemen, pleasure to have you here. Let's get right to business. Jeb Bush was asked if he thinks Donald Trump is fooling the people who vote for him, and here's the response.
I think he is a master at manipulation, and I find it amusing on one level that he constantly attacks me. I'm his primary target, and I'm doing so poor in the polls, according to everybody, right? Well, why is that? Why is he going after me each and every day? It's because he fears me, because I'm the only guy standing up to him.
Michael, he did it. He did it. He finally rolled up the F word and threw it out there at Donald Trump that he fears him. Wait a minute. Let's not look too hasty now. Is it just possible?
No, it is not possible. Number one, you've got Jeb, and you've got W, and you got references to 41. So I think what Trump is doing, I think Trump acts like a bully on the campaign trail. So he sees weakness. He doesn't fear Jeb. He sees weakness, and he uses Jeb as a foil, which is, it's kind of sad. And Jeb also, he's trotting out his dad, his mom, his brother. I think the country has said, we've had enough Bushes. We've had enough Clintons. I think this is a huge strategic, tactical and strategic mistake.
All right, let's talk about mistakes here, if you will, for just a moment, Rick, because as somebody who grew up in New York City, I'm offended by when Donald Trump at the debate threw out your brother was basically in the chair when 9/11 hit. I mean, to me, that's just using the people, the victims of 9/11, as nothing more than a political tool. But let's look at it from both sides here. It doesn't make a difference because no matter what he throws out, Rick, the people love him and they're not going to let him go.
That is precisely the point. Look, all of us thought that there would be a price to pay for the way he talked about President Bush during the debate Saturday night. And polls come out this morning. He hasn't lost an iota of a percentage point. This guy appears to be invincible. At least he appears to be invincible now in South Carolina. And for Jeb to say what he did, I mean, all we're going to do, because he can't prove that Trump is afraid of him, and logic would tell us otherwise. I think Michael's got this one right. We're just going to laugh at it. So it was kind of a silly thing to say. He doesn't need anything more for us to be laughing at.
And of course, what we do, as everybody else does, we respond to Donald Trump because he's the man who says things right now. Here's another one. Former Vice President Dick Cheney. This was interesting. Was asked for his response to Donald Trump saying the Bush administration deliberately lied about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And here's what he said.
He sounds like a liberal Democrat to me, Brett. He's wrong, and he's I think, deliberately promoting those views in order to advance his political interest. On the question of WMD.
All right, Rick, I'm going to throw it to you. Does indeed he sound like a liberal Democrat to you?
The answer is it makes absolutely no difference. What everybody should have figured out by now, we have a total switcheroo going on here. Usually it's the Republicans who are engaging in an ideological battle during primaries, and the Democrats play politics. It's the exact opposite. Trump supporters don't care what his ideology is. They don't care if he's a liberal in sheep's clothing. They just don't care. All they care about is we want to change, and we think that this is the guy who might actually do it because he's not a Republican or a Democrat. He's just going to do something different, and that's what we want. It doesn't work for Ted Cruz when he says it. It's not going to work for the vice president when he says it.
90 seconds we have left. You hit the two magical words in there, Ted Cruz. Mike, I throw this one to you first of all. Donald Trump says Ted Cruz is lying, and he's the biggest liar. And, of course, Ted Cruz comes back and says, well, you can't say liar, liar, pants on fire. Wait a minute here. I am stuck with tons of papers sitting in front of me that says that every one of these candidates lied in the debate. Every single one of them. So I throw to you then. Is Ted Cruz
Except
lying?
Ben Carson.
Well, wait a minute. He talked about a Stalin quote that didn't exist. Let's not go there.
Okay.
Michael, is it fair to say that Ted Cruz lying?
Look, I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but I am going to play one here. This is called projection. And when you call somebody else a liar, what you're really saying is, I kind of do this too. Let's be honest. They're all liars. They all misstate things. They all put things in terms that are going to help them the best. So they're all lying. Everybody just shut up. And to Rick's point, which I sadly have to agree with, not because of Rick, but it is true. It's not about ideology. It's pure politics. This is bare-knuckle politics, the likes I haven't seen since, truthfully, I don't know when.
20 seconds left, Rick, then we'll take a break, come back. But are you seeing more lies from candidates this year than you've seen in past presidential elections?
That's a pretty tough metric to apply, isn't it? I mean, they're politicians. Of course they lie. It's a question of the breadth and the depth of the lies. And I got to say, far be it for me to agree much with Trump, but Cruz is throwing out some pretty big whoppers here.
And that's frightening because and people would say that's good because I've heard others say, liberals say, Donald Trump's getting it right. Yowza. Rick, Ungar, Michael Brown, stick right around. We're going to come back because the animal rolls forward into hostile lefty territory next on the Hardline.